There's nothing sweeter in life than when you put in a lot of hard work into something and then you get rewarded for it. You achieve your goal. But life doesn't work like that all the time, man. Think of all the sports, all your favorite sports. How many losers are there and how many winners are there? In the NBA, man, how many people deserve to be champions, but they never could get there for whatever reason? How do you process that? How do you process being a top 10 player in a given sport, top 10 athlete, and you're not a winner? It's something that I often think about, some of these guys who have played in the NBA or any other sport really, and they're like the best in the game, one of the best players in the game, but they've never won. How do you process that? How do you process putting in a lot of work day in, day out, and then having nothing to show for it, nothing meaningful? You never achieve your goal. How do you process that? I almost feel like it is easier to be a winner from a psychological point of view, because I think when you win, there's like this massive relief. I've done it. I can move on with my life. I've justified all my efforts. But what if there's people out there who have worked harder than some of these winners, and they close their eyes at night knowing they haven't been justified? All of their effort is for nothing. Think about it in just basketball. How many players have championship rings and they're like 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th best player on that team? And then you have other players who are like top 10, top 5 players arguably in the world of all time, and they haven't won. How do you process that, man? I often think about this, and especially on a day like this, day 500. A few things have gone against me. I really wanted to have a really good session today, but 5 hours sleep, I haven't eaten for like 16 hours. It's just not going to happen. I decided to warm up with the bar with 60, with 100 kilos for 20. Took the bar for 50. I knew then that I wasn't going to have it. It's just there's no energy in the muscle. There's no glycogen in the muscle. There's no energy in the brain. Just spent. But it gets me thinking, imagine if I put in 2,000 squat every day, sessions in a row, and I have nothing to show for it. Sure, people can always say to me, you use the wrong method. You have to use this method. You have to use that method. You need to put on a bit of weight. You need to do this. You need to do that. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. This player should have gone to that team to win. This player should have done this. There's always something along those lines. What I'm talking about is the actual effort that somebody puts into the craft. We often talk about, people often talk about the 10,000 hours to become a master at a craft. There are people out there who have spent 100,000 hours into a craft and have not reached the pinnacle of their sport or of their goal. How do these people process all of this, man? Because the truth of the matter is just purely statistics. Not everybody can win. Not everybody has the tools to win. We can talk about genetics. We can talk about leverages in this game. Some people are just built shit. Their brain might have been, sparked on by one of their favorite athletes when they were growing up, and they're like, I want to do that. But what if you're 5'1" and you want to be in the NBA? What if your leverages are so bad, but you want to be the best squatter in the world? Unfortunately, the reality of life is that sometimes things just don't work out. The interesting thing for me is that how does that individual process that? Can you get something out of just putting the effort in? It's really interesting because you're not going to find too many people out there who are going to say to you, well done, man. You're a winner. Despite that you don't have any trophies or rings or records. I find this really, really interesting. Especially in a sport. Clarence Kennedy released something really interesting last few weeks. The anti-doping thing that they released. How weird is that? How interesting is that? You might have somebody there who works harder than somebody else, but that somebody else is on performance-enhancing drugs. They have something to show for their efforts. But the true guy who's put in all that effort has nothing. So the guy who follows the rules and who has worked harder has nothing to show for it. He's putting more hours into the craft, nothing to show for it. I think there needs to be something more deeper, something more meaningful for each of us, not just numbers, not just opinions. It needs to be something internal within us to say, I'm happy with what we've done so far, and we can justify our actions. Peace out, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.